Do ba 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 do boo do.
Okay, so she is home. She's back. She's been to the mechanic and she's had new plugs, new air filter and a new fuel filter. And just in case you haven't seen my other videos, the reason I put that into a mechanic to get that done, I could have done that myself, but the dealer that I bought this bike from had agreed to pay for that work because there was a slight fueling issue. So I thought it's better if he's paying for the work, just get it in and get it done by a professional. So that's done. I'm also in the process of changing the S's on the tank from silver. So originally it was silver. I've took those off and it's now red. Not 100% convinced. I'm not sure yet, but they're really cheap actually, and I might change those to white. I'm not sure yet. I'll see how I get on with the red ones. Minor detail anyway, and I'm waffling. So what am I doing to the bike next? Well, I have bought, let me just get it out and show you. On recommendation, where have I put it? Here we go. On recommendation from a friend, I've bought this Muc Off Motorcycle Degreaser. So my plan, because the only part of the bike that I'm struggling to get to clean properly is in there on the front of the engine block, between the engine block and the radiator. So it's really difficult to get to. So my plan is I'm going to get this side fairing off, and then, sorry about the shaky camera by the way, and once the side fairing's off, I'll be able to see in there and I can spray the degreaser behind the headers and above the headers. And the idea with this degreaser, I think, as my friend suggested, you spray it on, you leave it for a minute or two, and then you just wash it off. You rinse it off with a hose or with a jet wash, and apparently it's really good. So I'm going to do that, but what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to film it. So this is a review. You can treat this as a review of this motorcycle degreaser from Muc Off. So here we go. Let's get the side panel off first. I will, again, just in case you haven't seen a previous video where I did the clutch cable, on that video I explained how to get the side panel off of a Gixxer. So I'll do that. I won't show you the whole process, but I'll explain very quickly how that comes off. It's very, very easy. So I'll do that. I'll edit it so that bit's quite short, and then I'll get to the point where I'm using the degreaser, and let's see how I get on with that. Right, so to get this side fairing off, a couple of things that need to be done. Firstly, I need to take the crash bung off. Now this crash bung, and many bikes have this, where the crash bung is drilled through the side fairing into the engine mount bolt. Now that engine mount bolt is really, really important because it's one of the bolts that supports the engine in place. So if that's the case, if your bike has these type of crash bungs where they are drilled into the engine mount bolt and you have to remove them, then you just need to bear in mind a couple of things. First thing you need to bear in mind is if you remove both of them at the same time, you do risk your engine tilting forward slightly, because the rear mounts are still in place, but you do risk the engine tilting forward slightly, and then you're going to really struggle to get the bolt back in and get it aligned, and you do risk ruining that bolt and potentially ruining the thread in the engine mount, and you don't want to do that. So if you have to remove them one side at a time only, and then if you need to take both fairings off, remove one side, take the fairing off, put the bolt back in to support the engine, then do the same on the other side so the engine's always supported. Now what I do, just to be safe, is even though I'm only removing one side, I will also use my trolley jack and I will support the engine just underneath the sump, if I can find it. Where are we? So basically I'll put the jack underneath the sump there to support it so that the engine doesn't actually drop at all. But that's just me being really careful. It shouldn't drop if you only remove one bolt out at a time, but I just like to be careful anyway. So I don't put any pressure on the engine when I put the jack on there. I'll make sure that I don't push the engine up. I just literally raise the jack till it gets to there, it meets the sump, so that it's supported before I remove that engine bolt. Now, once that's done, once this is out, there are 1, 2 and 3 bolts to take out. There are also a few plastic clips. So right underneath there are 1 and 2. Those plastic clips need to come out, and also, again, shaky camera, that plastic clip and the same on the other side of the triangle, that black triangle needs to come out. And then you just need to make sure that you don't break any tabs or interlocking bits of plastic that clip together in this area. So it is worth being careful and just being a little bit cautious so you don't snap anything. Once those clips are out and once those 3 bolts are out, then there is 1 behind there, there's 1 behind there, there's 1, and I think up there there's 1. They are sort of lugs that fit into like a rubber recess. They just pop out and the fairing will come out. If you're not sure, watch my previous video where I did the clutch change, and I show that, although the camera angles weren't that great. So if anybody does have any questions on how to remove the fairing, this is a K8 Gixxer, then just drop me a message and I will make a video specifically about that, that's a little bit better than the one I did before. Fairing's off, and actually it's not all that bad in there. I think looking from the other side, it seemed to be a little bit worse, but I'm here anyway, so let's give it a go. So all I'm going to do is spray some of this degreaser around there. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. This is really bad bloody camera work, by the way. I'm agitated a little bit with the brush on a couple of places there, and this is just a test at the minute, but let's hose it down and see what happens. Oh! Oh! Now, I know that you can't quite see because it's not clear, but actually it has lifted a lot of the grease. There was a lot of grease just there where I'm pointing at. If it'll focus, bloody focus. There was a lot of grease on there, and that's just washed off. This does seem like good stuff. The problem is it's so difficult to get in all the nooks and crannies that this is probably not the greatest test. Yeah, that seems to be working. Ideally I need to get in from the other side actually, and to be honest, this review, the video, the camera work isn't the greatest, but it's bloody freezing cold. My hands are freezing, so I will probably do a proper review at some point. But this was just a bit of a test actually, but so far so good, you know. Seems okay. I probably need to give it another spray on a couple of inside a couple of nooks and crannies, leave it for a little bit longer and then wash it off again and try and get in there with a smaller brush just to agitate some of that. But yeah, so far so good. I'm actually quite impressed because it has lifted. I don't know if you'll tell the difference as such from the camera, but it has lifted a lot of the grease and the dirt that was on the front of that engine block. Now if I spent a bit more time I could probably get into some of those tighter spaces, but to be honest, it's freezing bloody cold, it's wet, it's miserable. So this is a job for a day that's a bit drier and slightly warmer, so I'm going to leave it there. However, so far this seems to be working okay. Will I use it again? Yes. Will I keep it in my box of cleaning stuff? Yes, definitely. And what I'll do when I get a better day is I'll get both fairings off and I'll tackle this from both sides. But for now, this was just a very, very quick test. So I'm going to dry this area of the bike off with my blower and then get everything put back together. So happy days. Muc Off Motorcycle Degreaser So far from this very short test gets a bit of a thumbs up from me.
Do ba 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 do boo boo a boo ba do boo boo.